Alrighty, good Friday morning. Remember, it is Red Friday. Remember, everyone deployed. And welcome to another CatCast, episode 6. And there's CatCasts out there with different numbers, but I've started to devote time to YouTube here. So this is the episode 6. Um, I got PBD here, Pat Davis. Amazing. I suggest that you follow this man on the screen right now. He's going to be taking on Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I have to say, biasedly, I used to be, I would say about 10 years ago, big fan, because he's very smart, very well educated, very well spoken of Neil. Uh, I really was. I was very into Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I would watch a lot of his segments, his information. He was very good and entertaining, even. And then I believe he got WOKE a bit, or somebody's paying him from the other side. I don't know. But this here, I want you to know, is a study, in my opinion, of communication and different ways people communicate and different ways people receive information, etc., etc., etc. So without further ado, I want to start this for you, and just listen. I'm going to chime in as per usual, and don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share, and also please hit the bell. I'm new at this, trying to improve all the time, and I need your support. And a like is support enough. So here we go. Let's see what they have to say
today. What do we know about the vaccine today that we didn't know while we were all testing it in America, taking it? What have we learned now?
What do you mean testing it on America? There were tests before it was released.
9 months is not a long time to test.
No, but it was tested.
Yeah, but 9 months, the average is 30. The average is 5 to 10 years. I mean, 9 months is not enough.
Okay, so
now, so you know, over all the years, the CDC, FDA, everybody, you had to pour $1 billion, maybe it started out $1 million, but $1 billion into what your pharma was going to be, and study after study, testing. 5 to 10 years, they were super strict. And yes, Trump did the, getting it out there quick thing. I forget what he called it, something. You could put that down in the comments if you want, just to help my brain remember. But yes, it was super looked upon before they would release it. 9 months, ding, I have to agree with PBD.
So you have to say, no, you have to ask, hold on. It was tested in trials, okay? By the way, I'm not claiming to be the expert on all this. I read all the same things you have, but I'm a scientist, so I read it as a scientist, okay? There were trials. That's what the point of phase 1, 2, 3 trials are all about. They are tested enough to get data on how to then advise the larger population. Yes, it was tested. For you to say it wasn't tested is a gap between your awareness and understanding how things work and what actually happened. It was tested. If you want it to be tested on millions of people instead of thousands, you can put in for that. You can say, I don't want this unless it's millions. That's okay.
Totally fine with me.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine. So based on that, do you say, let's keep testing it while the virus keeps spreading? Okay? Right. So this is the contest between the information you have available to you at that moment and what's going on outside the lab.
Well, first of all, if you're doing scientific data, and I'm not a scientist, and I dropped a comment in this video, and this video is like 2 months old, but I dropped a comment in here. If you're going on data, then wouldn't it be good that people are tracked also that didn't get the shot, and then we get to see how they fare up against the people that did get the shot, just so we have two different camps and two different datas to like mush together like a deck of cards and see if we can come up with something a year or 3 years later. And that's where I felt like myself, because I did not accept the jab, and I'm happy for it. It was a calculated risk, and I am not against anybody making their choice with their doctor to get the jab, especially if you have the comorbidities, especially if your age is in there as a factor. So anyway, keep going here. But yes, I believe that even data from people that didn't get the vaccine would have helped the full-blown study in 1 to 3 to 5 years.
People are dying. Hospitals are becoming overloaded. So, do you say we have good data on the 1,000? It's not yet at 1 million, in case you wanted 1 million. Are you going to say, let's still do it on another, let's wait another 6 months so we get another 1 million in here? Will you do that as a public health professional?
No, I would have said, allow the individual to still have a choice that's okay with 1,000 instead of a few million. Leave the person have the choice. Not force him to take it or else you're going to get out of the Marines, and you've been doing this for 14 years. Not force him to take it or else you have to quit your job as a nurse.
There's a public health
force versus
there's a
choice.
No.
Now, that's true. I mean, imagine you've put your time in with the military and or any other place, 14, 15, 16, 20 years, 10 years. And all of a sudden, you're mandated to leave your job over a shot that has 9 months. And you just want to talk to your doctor and say, I'm not ready for it. I want to see what happens in a year or 2 or 3. And guess what? That's even probably if it's worth it to get it. And sadly, if people had to die not getting it, that still gives the next generation a little bit more security that when they say we've done the 9 months, you know, like there's variations that, you know, the virus changed its course and, you know, regurgitated itself and figured out a way to attack again. So I get that, but I don't know. I'm with this. I can't imagine in 2023, but it's here, that the government can mandate and then the corporations can then ask you to leave because you didn't get the jab.
There's a public health contract that you have signed implicitly as a citizen of a country where in part we depend on each other for health, our wealth, our security, and the like. And that contract is...
See, what he's doing right now, this is my opinion, he's making you think that literally, there's a contract on the table and it's blah, 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 out. And if, you know, we have a pandemic, you're now signing that you'll do whatever we tell you to do, which, you know, that's not written. He's just giving you sort of a picture in your mind that helps go with his way of explaining it to Pat.
In the best scientific evidence available at the time. If you do not get vaccinated, you will put other people in this organization at risk, and that organization does not want to take that risk. So you do not have this job anymore if you decline it. So with any public health decision, there has to be a consequence to you not participating in that social contract.
He's telling you there's a consequence for not participating in a ongoing trial with now us as the lab rats.
Is it your job? In some cases it was. But no, we're not going to have the army bust into your home and force a needle into your shoulder. That's not going to happen.
We pretty much did that.
Well, only put your job at risk, yes.
Yeah, 67% of Americans took the COVID. That's force. That's not a choice. That's a lot of force and coercing and pushing going on. But you can't go to the...
That's funny. You know, I've learned a little bit from Scott Adams as far as numbers and polls or whatever. And 67%, let's see, if 50% were Democratic, and then you have a 20% gap floating into each side, that would be 70%. So in my opinion, it's almost like middle people and left people all accepted the jab, and a lot of red people, right people, maybe didn't get it. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's just my brain cranking numbers real quick. But 67%, I wonder if the other, like, 23%, 30%, whatever, is should I say, conservative? If you're conservative on your decisions?
School unless you're vaccinated against mumps.
I think that's bullshit.
That's a different country.
Yeah.
Get them,
okay? Would you want a country?
No, America is supposed to be the one that offers the most freedom. That's what America is supposed to be.
Okay,
Amen.
so watch.
So for example, if you use that argument, somebody may say, well, freedom of choice, I want to choose what I want to do with the body. You're right.
What body?
If you want to get an abortion, it's your choice.
Your own body. Your own body.
If you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to get
because it's not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know if the vaccine worked or not at the time.
Yes, that's what the trials are, dude.
I'll tell you what, he's jumping out of his skin, and he might have a medical issue. I don't think that's nerves or anything. But what I've gotten up to this point is Tyson here is like sort of like growly, sort of like I'm the smartest one in the room. I don't know. Drop a comment below if you could. Plus share this for me. Love you, big cats.
That's why these trials. Are you missing data out there?
But let me ask you a question. Are we saying only one type of scientists are right?
No, we're saying that the system in place.
The 16,000 that signed that.
No. The system in place to test vaccines. Yeah. There's an entire system that's in place.
I missed that. Whatever he was saying, the 16,000 or something that signed, he got cut off. I hope he says something again about that.
That with review boards and all of this,
and the average
that's in place. Now you can say what you can say is, I have a better idea than all these review boards and all these agencies and the CDC. I have a better idea. Here's what you should do, and that would have made everything better. Okay, you can put forth that idea, but what I'm saying is, in a case where you can contaminate someone else, it's not about you. It's about the collective health.
You're assuming because somebody can take the vaccine, won't get COVID, which, by the way, I don't need to play the clips for you to see it, where everybody said, hey, if you get it, you're not going to get, if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get a Rachel Maddow, Joe Biden. I can give you Fauci. I can give you, and you've seen these clips before. It's not like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, what happened
They were wrong.
Hold on. So,
look at him.
The strain evolved.
I'm telling you, he's such a brilliant man. I mean, I wish I could love him again. But did you see him going, like, quad core computer programming, getting that answer together, like, faster than I could probably, but he's doing it.
Okay. So that the vaccine that prevented you from catching COVID was tuned to the variant of COVID at the time the vaccine was designed.
I had said that in my opening.
Over time, there were variants that arose. The vaccine provided partial protection against the new variants, enough to keep you from dying statistically, and to basically keep you out of the hospital, allowing other people with more severe problems to get the hospital attention they required. And so then they would develop a subsequent, the booster and a subsequent mixture of the vaccine. This is what happens every year with the flu shot.
Now, I got to say, with the flu shot, again, drop me a comment. How many people do you know? And I've never, that's probably why I didn't take this one also. My life experience at 54 is everybody around me, when I was younger and the flu shots first came out, all the older folks in my, family and friends, they would get, got to get to CVS, got to get to wherever and get my flu shot. They all got the flu and I didn't. And I'm talking 80% of the time. Maybe to others it's 6. This is just my IRL. But for years I would just watch these people. My wife worked at Superfresh, and she works in a high school kitchen. She runs a kitchen, and she tells me constantly, because we're now getting closer to middle age than the 40s. We passed our 50s, and she's constantly telling me about the ladies saying we got to get our flu shot, and year after year they get the flu and miss work. Go ahead.
They look at how the flu has evolved from one season to the next. And what's fortunate is Australia tends to get the variant of flu before we do, because they get their winter in our summer. And
that is true.
So we study that have a forward projection for it. So these annual flu shots are precisely out of the same idea of how this occurs.
How long have those been tested, though? For years. COVID vaccine hasn't been tested for it. It was
he just, right there, he just did it. I mean, how long? He gets that deep voice in there. How long? I mean, that was the argument. I mean, ding, another, you know.
It was something we just came out. But let me.
I don't know what point you're making, other than it was tested. You might
9 months is not enough.
You might prefer. No, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of how many. Yes, time matters, but
he caught
the number of people is paramount. That's the most important thing. Okay, you don't test it on 10 people. You test it on as many people as you can.
Sure.
And I think it was thousands, but
is it fair to say that some of the side effects we may not know for 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
He's calculating.
You can't they can't say we know 100% the side effects 10 years from now. How are you going to know that?
Yeah. Okay. So no, of course we can't know.
So
that.
Then all I'm saying is
watch. We can't know that.
Watch this.
So I have a whole chapter called Risk and Reward in the book, which tries to sensitize people to when they make a decision, what kind of risk are they absorbing relative to what they're rejecting, okay? And we're not very good at that, at probability and statistics or analyzing it. That's why TV commercials trying to sell you a product don't just show you data, they show a person speaking of the effectiveness of the product.
What are they showing you also at the bottom of the screen, Michael? If you do take this, they have like 15, 17, 25 side effects. So you're not mentioning the side effects of every TV commercial shows.
A single person. I lost 50 pounds. The testimony of an individual should be irrelevant to you relative to the entire set of people who have done it. And you want to look at those statistics, but we're not good at that. And advertisers know that. So they show the testimony of an individual, which is hugely potent in a civilization where we don't think statistically, we think about eyewitness testimony on something. And somehow that is raised to a very high level of influence on our decisions.
I do agree with that.
What I'm saying is, you're not your decision point is not, I'm not going to take the virus because 5 years, 10 years, I don't know what effect it's going to have.
Some may, though. Some may not.
It is for me.
Be comfortable.
Let me finish the sentence. Okay. So you can say, I don't want to take the virus because 5 or 10 years from now, there could be a side effect that we don't see.
Which is a possibility.
Hold on. I'm trying to make a statistical point here, okay? If you say, I don't want to take the virus because it hasn't been tested for 5 years and there could be some long-term side effect that worries me, okay? In that same moment, there's the risk factor of you getting COVID.
Sure.
Okay? Unvaccinated. At one point, 87% of everyone dying in the hospital of COVID was unvaccinated. Okay. So your risk choice is, I'm not going to take it because maybe somewhere down the line something will happen and we don't know what that is, or I will risk getting COVID. And if I get COVID, depending on your age and other things, there's a 3% chance of me dying in the hospital. That's your choice. Yes. Yes. But what I see people doing is they focus on one thing, and that's the foundation of their decision, rather than the other chance. And what happens if you get COVID? Now you get long COVID. Now you can have taste buds for 2 years or whatever it is for long COVID.
Yeah.
I know people that got the jab that still underwent long COVID. So I don't know if he's going to say that, but even when they got their booster, they were getting long COVID.
You're on a ventilator in the hospital, possibly dying? Like, what? Where is the... So I looked every day, once a week, I looked at the statistics. How many people are getting COVID? What's the rate? What's the rate of hospitalization? What's the rate of deaths? Where is it by state?
I had to look at it. My board forced me to look. We're in the business that we have to look at.
They should.
Yeah, of course.
And if you do your research, a lot of the numbers were skewed. Do your research. All those huge reports that came out, maybe even the next 9 months or 8 months after we did our shutdown. In that year and a half, the numbers were all over the place, depending on which report you looked at. Now, apparently, Michael here, deGrasse Tyson, he believes that the scientists that are on those boards put the right information out. That's for him to believe. But like I said, do your research. You can go look back and look at all the people that said these numbers aren't right. This is close to right, but why did this happen over here and that didn't happen over there? I mean, people scrutinized it. So you got to check into it.
Because it's data.
Yeah, I agree.
On risk factors.
The risk of people's lives,
okay,
for
so,
sure.
So nothing is ever zero risk. Yeah, there's a risk that you'll grow a third arm in 10 years because the virus mutates within you.
Should the individual not have the right to say, I don't want to take it because that's...
You don't have
Wait
the
a minute.
right
Did you catch that? Again, in persuasion, deGrasse Tyson's not going to say, you know, problems with your heart or your lungs or your kidneys or, you know, like some people are saying, more athletes are dropping than they did the previous year before COVID. There's studies out there that show that. There's numbers and data. But notice he lets you picture a third arm. He's not letting you picture having, you know, a heart problem, a cardio problem, or memory problem, or any problem that you see people are having. That is a classic trick because he's not going to give you more information that you need to know. In the argument, I'm saying, in this situation, he's going to create you to think that there's a third arm that's going to pop out, and that ain't ever going to happen. I got to give him credit. That's a really good trick, and I'm not nearly as good at that type of stuff, but just saying.
Contaminate someone else. So if you don't want to get shot...
Who says that, though? But who says that?
It's a social contract in a modern civilization.
I don't have
public health.
I don't have the right to contaminate someone else. What do you mean? Like, so what do I do? Stay home all day?
Yeah, or it's go to the beach. Yeah, you stay away from other old people who
but
you stay away from people who are immune compromised.
So Neil, so for me, I'm asking you because I want to know how you process this as a guy that's well-read, smart.
I process the data and
I believe on some of the West Coast beaches, maybe even our beaches on here on the East Coast, I believe there was people that went out surfing that got arrested. They're out there by themselves or swimming, maybe 5 people on a 3-mile beach. And officers went down there, pulled them out of the water and arrested them. I believe there's footage of that and actual news.
We didn't
have enough data, though.
No.
We didn't
Go
have
to the
enough
beach.
At any given moment,
yeah,
there's data for you to make a decision. At any given moment.
Sure.
The data is constantly getting better and better.
Yeah.
All right. So, at any given moment.
That proves my point. It's constantly getting better and better and better. And now there's reports saying that we probably, if you didn't get the shot, it was okay. That herd immunity, which I believe in. I don't care what anybody tells me, and I'm not a scientist, but I do believe there's herd immunity because when you're, you know, finally at crawling age and toddler age, you're touching everything, putting everything in your mouth. Of course, you don't want them to go play in the cat litter box, but God or the spirit that controls everything, whoever created our DNA, said, hey, you know, jump on the mother's milk first, so that way you can get your stuff together as far as fighting this, that, and the other thing. Get your shots that you have to get while you're getting ready before preschool age. And I think you still got to get shots. I forget. My kids are older now while you're in school. But the crawling and the touching things and putting things in your mouth actually helped your immune system. So herd immunity, in my opinion, is good. And I'm going to say something about that a little bit later, or relating to that if I remember.
You say to yourself, okay, what happens to me if I get COVID? There's a chance I'll get long COVID. I'm certainly out for at least a week. And there's a chance I'll be hospitalized. And there's a chance I'll die.
Mm-hmm.
I take the vaccine. It mitigates this, basically entirely removing the chance that I'm going to die, essentially, at my age group. And I will accept the risk that in 5 years I'll grow a third arm. That's the kind of decision-making that I make. Now, that's just for me, but on top of that, if my workplace says, we don't want you coming in unless you are vaccinated and you might lose your job, I would say, why? Oh, because you could contaminate someone else, introducing a problem in their own health profile.
So wait a minute. He's saying right there that everybody that's in work that has the shot is actually more protected. So if you come in with or without COVID and or the transfer of it, which there's studies now on the actual transfer of it and masks and all that, but that's a different video. Now he's saying, almost contradicting, that you've built up a shot immunity and the people coming in will mess with you, but yet wouldn't you be good? And especially if you're all wearing masks, which masks didn't help. That's another study. I don't know, man. I feel like he just kind of like said something like backwards, but we think it sounds forward. I don't know.
That's the public contract. That's why workers wash their hands in the restaurant bathrooms by law. Yes, they're required to do so because you don't want poop germs in your dinner that they're preparing.
No, you don't.
Because our evidence showed that that's one of the greatest places you can spread disease is in a restaurant with a central kitchen. So this is the now you want a world where you can do whatever you want and have it influence other people.
I'm not saying that.
You kind of are.
Social media, isn't that kind of, if the only way to vaccine yourself from social media is to have an open mind and know true and false and have good morals, or don't watch social media?
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the following. Like, okay, for example, statistics. You know, have you seen the documentary Died Suddenly? Have you looked at it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So it's an interesting one. It's on I don't know where it's at. You can find it somewhere online. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I can find that link, I'll find it and I'll put it down below because that's interesting. I would like to watch that. Died Suddenly. So he's recommended it, and Michael's saying, yep, I'm going to watch it. Good.
It's got 30 million views. I think it's worth watching. Actually would be curious to know what you say about it once you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
The statistic then showed, like, pre-COVID, 29 people, athletes in Europe died suddenly from heart failure, pre-COVID. Pre-taking the mRNA vaccine. Okay. Post-taking the mRNA vaccine last year, 1,500 people suddenly had heart failures in Europe, and 2/3 died. That's documented. That's not like it's a hypothetical, right? Okay. You read statistics like that, then one has the right to say.
Well, just to be careful. You have to be careful how you speak information. So you are describing two events.
Okay.
You're describing events that had a temporal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before you've established a causal relationship.
All he's doing here is he knows people are watching this. So again, he's creating for the people that are going to hear this, especially people that love deGrasse Tyson here. I think he's doing it again, where he's making sure that what Pat just said is going to be reframed. Thank you, Scott. Is going to be reframed a little bit for the viewer. He's not really kind of begrudging Pat. He's kind of doing this, I think, because that was a good trap Pat set. So he's giving you, the people that are watching, he's giving you that outdoor real quick from the trap. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Relationship. Just be clear that that's
100%. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is the following. Here's all I'm doing. If somebody all of a sudden starts having a breakout, okay?
A breakout of what?
Meaning their skin starts breaking out. You're 26 years old. You never had a breakout. All of a sudden you start breaking out. And the doctor says, listen, man, what have you been doing differently? Well, listen, for the first time in my life, 6 weeks ago, I started doing DECA, steroids. Well, okay, that's why it implicates it, right? Okay. Hey, if somebody all of a sudden, is having a hard time sleeping at night, I'm having a very hard time. So let's watch your diet. Well, then they notice at 10:30 at night, you're having iced tea and, lemonade, and you added with this. Well, listen, if we've been doing it for 6 weeks, that's why you're having a hard time. Just drop that. Don't drink that after 2 o'clock.
I'll never forget a guy, I worked on the boardwalk here down in South Jersey, and I'll never forget a guy, Keith, telling me whether it was drinking, smoking pot, eating, doing certain things at night. If you didn't do those things after 7 o'clock at night, you were a lot healthier. Even if you kind of broke the rules a little bit before 7 o'clock. I'll never forget that. And I wish right now I wouldn't be so fat if I didn't eat after 7 o'clock, because I'm watching either stuff for tomorrow's cast or I'm watching something with my wife. And Maybe the kids are even making snacks, makes me hungry, but I love to eat. It's like one of my last vices. And I bet you I would lose 25 pounds at least if I cut out food after a good dinner, but just have either water or a good diet, something, I don't know, for drinking, but stay away from the food. Anyway, go ahead.
Making, saying, but all I'm saying is, what I want to know is I want to put everything on the table versus saying, no, there's one thing we can't put on the table, and that's the cause of the vaccine. There is no way there could be any negative impact because of the vaccine. That's ludicrous.
No one has ever said that ever about any vaccine.
If you say that, then the question then becomes back for you to say, when COVID first got started, I invited so many doctors to come in to talk about COVID.
Listen to
and
this.
then I invited people from both sides. I want both sides. I invited people from both sides. You know which side would never come?
See?
The side that was for vaccine would never, ever come because they thought they were above the average person, that they know and the rest of us are dumb. So because of that, they're not willing to come and sit down with scientists. I think that's arrogant. So to me, when I ask you scientific debate, I'm not telling you I'm a scientist. Hey, let me debate with you because I'm smarter than you. I'm not a scientist. I'm a business guy.
Let's do a hypothetical scenario.
All right,
hypothetics.
I'm going to pause that.
Let's assume.
I don't want this to get too long. And I also want you to go back and finish watching this. Give Pat a like and a subscribe. And if you can find Michael deGrasse Tyson, if you can find him, check into him, see what's up. But what I wanted to see here was a really good debate. I think it was a good debate. I think it leaves a few questions open as far as if you want to make a decision. But check this out. I just wanted to see, let's check out what some of the... I put in maybe, just maybe, citizens not taking the vax would have helped the studies post 9 months. Just saying. So I threw that up there. Admitting you're wrong is the hardest thing a person can do, and some will never do it. The real issue is absolute control social media has on us. The four F words? Okay, that's not even a bad opening sentence. Regardless of your view, thoughts and or opinions, you will find information on social media which is accurate or fake that will side with your feelings. Furthermore, the more you interact with social media and research your thoughts, feelings, and or opinions on a particular matter, perhaps vaccines, the more videos, articles, groups you will be presented with. It's the job of the AI and the algorithms to keep you engaged. That's super important, the AI. AI could care less if the content is factual, accurate, good, nor bad. It's simply a numbers game. Oh man, and you could read more. Let's see, is there anything else? It's refreshing to see someone take this man on for once. Well said, sir. Jim's Journey's there. That's pretty profound, because I have seen, deGrasse Tyson can be a whirlwind. I've seen him on panels, and I've seen him destroy people. I've also seen people fight him back, but he is an intellectual beast. He's fighting for the man right now, and I think Pat so far has done it well. So you're going to go up there, you're going to go find this, and you're going to go watch the end of it. Furthermore, if I didn't say in the beginning, it's Red Friday. So they fight for us. They fought for us. They're going to fight for us tomorrow. They're going to die for us. You got to take care of your vets. And Red Friday is remember everyone deployed. I didn't serve. So on Fridays, I like to do it because both my stepfather and my father served. I've had some uncles that served. And I've had some aunts that served. And I just feel like, in the time we live in, being in the service, you can kind of look, even in Vietnam, when the men and women came home, they were treated terribly. All right. But, since World War II, that was a boots on the ground for pretty much the right reasons. But then I would suppose after World War II, it was from there on out financial, and it was to fight communism and, Korea, Afghanistan, Vietnam, all that stuff. Well, Afghanistan wasn't necessarily communism. That was just pushing some of our beliefs on them and a money's game. But Red Friday, remember everyone deployed. I would hope that you could kiss, love, hug a veteran, go see Gretchen Smith on Twitter. If you're a vet and you feel down and out, or you need help, or you need direction, or you know a vet that needs that type of help or direction, Gretchen at Coda Vets. It's at Coda Vets on Twitter. That's the easiest way to find her. I'll put her link in the description. And other than that, have a safe weekend. Have a wonderful Friday. It's TGIF, and I will see you on the other side. I love you guys.